Oh my God, look at the pages.
No, that's, what's everybody asking now?
It's the big writer because it's
Double side. On the orange one.
Right.
That looks suspiciously like a work pad as well.
Yeah.
I believe this.
It's a little right.
Right, anyway, thank you all for coming. It didn't start too well today because I hadn't realised that F1 was on, and so I'd got to rush, so I dashed into the shower and rushed. Flossed, got my mouthwash, and I used the Clearasil instead of mouthwash. So it was a bit of a false start. Anyway, thanks all for making the effort to come and help Carol and I celebrate our Ruby wedding. It actually is a similar speech to what I made last week when we had another do with our friends, but I have actually edited it. So yeah, I first met Carol nearly 42 years ago at the Circulation Club in
She was only 10 at the time.
Dingleland, Burnley. Between Christmas and New Year 1973, just a couple of days before her 21st birthday, she actually took a shine to my mate Steve Milbin. What should I do? I had to fight dirty. I told Carol that I was godfather to Steve's daughter, and it worked. Carol was with her mate, and when I introduced myself to her, she shouted across, "Hey Anne, guess what this one's called?" Philip came the reply. No, she wasn't psychic, but I found out her last two boyfriends were also called Philip.
Very handy.
I took a phone number and wrote it on my hand. No mobiles then. It was 947147. There was no STD codes then. 94 was the local code for Padiham and Burnley. On the way home in the minibus, Dave and Steve, my mates, tried to rub it off, but it was ingrained in my mind. I rang the next day and her dad answered. Is it Philip from Rishton or Philip from the New Forest? Rishton, I said. Sorry, Philip, she isn't in. Or could you let her know I'll ring tomorrow night? Anyway, after discussions with my mates, I decided she wasn't interested and didn't ring. The following day, Carol went into work. Her friend Norma said, "Well, where's he taking you then?" "He didn't ring," said Carol. "Well, ring him," said Norma. "Can't," said Carol. "Do you want to see him again?" said Norma. "Yes," said Carol. "But what can I say?" "Well, tell him you're sorry, but you're out again. Ask him if he rang, and if he says yes, he's a liar and dump him. If he says no, then you know he's telling the truth." I said, "No, I didn't ring because I didn't think you were interested after talking to your dad." He said, "Is it Philip from Rishton?" "Not in." "Is it Philip from the New Forest?" "Here she is." But I passed the test. Our first date was to Toad Hall in Southport. I told him my car was orange and fiberglass.
Long speech, this. We've been married 40 years and he's on first date already.
I told him my car was orange and fiberglass. She told her friends, "I think he's got one of them there bomb bugs." It was actually a Lotus Europa. I actually arrived early and parked up a couple of streets away. As the clock slowly edged towards 7, my mouth was dry. A new adventure. Would it be a one-night stand or would it go to somewhere else?
This wasn't mentioned on Saturday.
She would meet me at the bottom of George Lane. As I drove up the road, I had to stop to let the oncoming traffic go past. There she was, long brown hair, green mini dress, black tights and high heels. She looked stunning. I coolly turned into George Lane, misjudged and curved my alloy wheel. Not the impression I wanted to start with. We drove to Southport and we were there in no time. Carol put me at ease immediately. We never stopped talking and had a great night. On the way home, you know what Carol's like, she always tells it how it is. She told me that my kisses were too wet and asked if I was deaf. "No, why?" I said, as I shouted over the sound of David Bowie singing Suffragette City. "Why do you need the music so loud?" I said, "It makes me want to drive fast," as I raced with another car. She told me to turn it down and slow down. What made me fall in love with Carol? Well, perhaps her laugh, it is so infectious. once she starts. Then there's the conversation. There's never a pregnant pause with Carol.
Do you know what
No, I think I've got the punctuation wrong. There's never a pregnant pause with Carol. And great looks, of course, and her ability to make me feel the most important person in her life.
Hey, you're doing a Peter.
No, I'll not do that one.
Not that bad.
It certainly wasn't her cooking. I need to explain that very quickly. I love my food, and if it was like mother like daughter, I don't think I would have married her. Every time I went for tea, it was an endurance test. Sometimes we had pudding first because the beef hadn't cooked through yet, and the rice pudding was ready. I used to dread rice pudding when you could stand your spoon up in it and you needed a knife to cut it like a cake. Of course I didn't sample Carol's cooking till we were married, and what a pleasant surprise that was. I'm sure Andrew, Michael and Stuart will agree with me when I say she is an amazing cook. She is responsible for this.
When you're ready. When you're ready.
When I proposed, she didn't say yes straight away. She wanted to think about it. How long do you want to think about it, I said. Give me a week, she said. I lasted 3 days and went round and demanded an answer. I'm so pleased she said yes. If she hadn't, there'd be no Andrew, no Michael or Stuart, no Teddy and no Bobby. And I would never have met our fabulous daughters-in-law, Alex and Fiona, nor our future daughter-in-law, Gemma. I don't know what the secret of 40 years marriage is. Give and take. Never carry an argument forward. Always sleep as friends. Share things. When we go out, I drive there and Carol drives back. She is my best friend. She's understanding. And as she brought Andrew, Michael and Stuart up nearly single-handed as I worked from silly o'clock to silly o'clock whilst I built the business up. We both bring something to the table, and I would find life difficult without her. As we get older, I'm working on an idiot's guide to finance for her. Online banking, how to put diesel in the car. Diesel, Carol, not petrol. You know, all those sorts of things. And she says she's doing one for me. How to cook, how to use a washing machine and how to iron, goat keeping and dog walking. Does Carol ever do anything to irritate me? Well, yes, she does. She never hangs her keys up, and hours a week are spent looking for them. She owns a mobile, she rarely takes it with her. She has an email account, she rarely checks it. She also has an amazing memory which comes back to haunt me, as she recalls every single disagreement we may have had in great detail, where she was right and I was wrong. She also has secrets. In 40 years of marriage, I've never found out how much she spends on her hair. I did get close.
Not as much as you on your cars.
I did get close once when she was recommended a new hairdresser by her friend's daughters, Sally and Marissa. Anyway, one Christmas they came round with their mum for a coffee, and Carol thanked them and effused how pleased she was with the new hairdresser. Carol went to make the coffee. I chatted with Sally. So how much do you pay for your hair? I said, just as Anne and Carol came back. Don't you dare tell her. Carol and I get on really well. We must do to be together for 40 years. She says I'm high maintenance, and she's probably right. But I have asked her to expand on this. I just agree with her. I think the reason we get on so well is that she's cheap to keep. She doesn't spend much on expensive makeup and clothes, designer clothes, despite Andrew trying very hard on their annual trips away to London or Edinburgh. She doesn't wear much makeup during the day, and I'll tell you that she looks just as good in the morning as she does at night.
This has obviously been written before last Friday.
Going back to cheap to keep, this wasn't always the case. She used to take £100 out of the hole in the wall every couple of weeks, and I know this because I do the statements. And I noticed every now and again she took £200 out. I'd just done the statements, and I just said, Now it isn't a problem, but I just noticed that sometimes you take £200 out and just wondered why. She said, well, she said, every time you're horrible to me and tell me to F off, I take double.
She must be rich.
Last page. 40 years have just flown by, so many memories. She has given me 3 fantastic sons, who have in turn given us 2.5 fantastic sons. Well, if the half is like Bobby and Teddy, he will be. I just feel so lucky. Life is good and we are enjoying new adventures. Northern Lights, Galapagos, Japan, South Korea. We're off to Canada on the Rocky Mountaineer on Friday for our Woo wedding present to each other. Next year we're in New York for 5 days to look forward to, and then in July we're off to Svalbard and Bear Island to see the polar bears and walruses. And after 24 hours darkness in the Northern Lights, we will now be having 24-hour daylight and see the midnight sun. All this and our second home in a decade, taking our 3 boys in turn with their families is magical. Great friends, great families, and an amazing life.
Hey!
You can open the door now.